Okay. that's
Oh my
that's a
God.
new thing. Hi, thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Excited.
Um, I have so many things that I want to say and ask and everything, but can you introduce yourself real quick before I get far into it?
Oh, yeah. My name is Greg D'Alessandro, and I'm the CEO, editor-in-chief of Weekly World News, the
So cool.
world's only reliable news. Yeah,
That's
there
so
you go.
cool.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, well, thank you so much for coming here. I feel like I've never said this before in my life, but I feel like I have a hot take on your weekly world news. I feel like I might have a different vantage point from anyone else in the world from which to view your lovely publication.
Really? Well, like, great. I'd love to hear the hot take.
Yeah, well, basically, my relationship with your publication is that I realized, like, going through all of this stuff today and yesterday and doing some research on it, I realized that the concept of entertainment, like, at all, was lost on me as a kid. It was everything was true or false, or you did it for health or you didn't do it at all. So conceptually, like, I was just told, don't look at that, or whatever, as a little kid. But I was just like, oh my god, what is that? But and then when you get to be in like fifth grade and you go somewhere by yourself, you're allowed to actually touch this paper that's telling you all of these secrets,
Right.
and all of this stuff. And you just are, if you don't have parents that like to believe in a whole lot of different things, you're just in this new thing where it's like smut and aliens and all the dark cool stuff you're not allowed to talk about. So you can
Right.
form your own opinion at 13 or 12 about this
Right.
whole wide world. um and then, as a person that knows that all of these things are true, to some extent or another, because the power of the mind, if enough people believe anything, it's real. And
Right.
then now, just coming full circle to realizing that the importance, because I was like, oh, what is the importance of this? What, if any, weight is there to anything we do? And I realize it's of the utmost importance that it's a global thing, having news like this, tabloid news or whatever you call it, having alternative
Yeah.
news. And at the very least, like, the value of entertainment and something claiming to be no more and no less is invaluable. And that I feel like if something like Facebook or Instagram were to say for entertainment only, like, it could change the whole wide world. Weekly World News, I think, could change the whole wide world. And I just wanted to thank you for realizing some parts of that. And I would like you to talk about, I guess, like, well, it doesn't really matter who the average person is. Like, like, obviously you love it. So what do you think
Yeah.
this provides for people? Um, and I believe it provides a lot. So what?
Yeah. Wow. That was an awesome take, and I really appreciate that. That was wonderful. Yeah, I mean, you hit on a lot of the things that we're all about. I mean, we're trying. There's this British physicist that I read, David Deutsch. You ever hear of him? So he talks about, like, there's objective reality, things that we know, like this desk is here, but what really is here is this really here? Like, if you really, you
Yeah.
know, examine, is here. So on some level, we're playing with, what is, real, that we, especially in today's world, like, what else is out there that we don't know? Like, there's things we know, things that we know that we don't know, and then there's things that we don't know that we don't know, right? So so maybe, we wrote a lot about UFOs and aliens over the years, as you know, and all of a sudden in the last year, a lot of stuff come true,
Yeah.
right? So it's proven that a lot of stuff that we wrote about, which people dismissed as like, oh, that's fun or that's silly or something, but actually, it's it's true, so
Yeah.
or it's becoming true, and they're uncovering these things. So what is like, what is reality, what is true, what is out there that we don't know, what are the mysteries out there, and the cosmic mysteries out there that we can
Yeah.
examine, right, that we
Yeah.
don't know. But I mean, the paper, and it was called the tabloid at the beginning. We were a division of National Enquirer, and it started in 1979,
Cool.
but so we started by doing like these uh bizarre but true stories, and then they kind of got, altered a little bit, but everything was also, there was always something based on truth. Like in the 80s, they started with Elvis is Alive.
Yeah. So
So we
cool.
started as Elvis is Alive, and then there was like multiple stories, but that was based on a numerous accounts in Michigan,
Yeah.
Kalamazoo, that people
Ooh.
had seen Elvis.
Yeah.
So we weren't just making up. So did they see Elvis or did they not see Elvis? But they saw Elvis, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was reading today. I mean, not, I just really do want to say like the cultural importance of belief. Although right now is like the weirdest time in the world, and I can't
Right.
say anything certainly or with certainty, but like culturally, there are countries where there isn't freedom of speech, and these types of papers do provide uh like I was reading about China where there's papers like this where you can say anything because it's sort of protected by this idea that it's not totally nonfiction. Um, and I
Right.
think that that's really cool. And yeah, is like I don't know. It's so hard. Like if we were to talk like 2 years ago, I would be like, I mean, I've always been a believer in believing. I believe everything, and
Yeah.
like I think it's cool that anyone brings up, particularly to me, like UFOs and extraterrestrials and all of that stuff, because that's the most tangible way I feel like people can lean into believing in whatever this is in this multi-dimensional strange universe we're in. I feel like people want it to be a tangible guy, like a green guy with big eyes or whatever, and that's
Right. Right.
really so easy to grab onto. I feel like if you're like, people like, and people like ghosts, but people don't
Yeah. Yeah.
understand.
We talked about ghosts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like all
Um,
the same thing. So I feel like you, what you're doing, like gives it easy access, obviously, not just to the concepts, but to these concepts that are so hard to understand on your own. And um even if like I was taught like, oh, they doctored that because I'm from the 80s and 90s, like
right.
they
Right. Yeah.
doctored that,
They
and it's
doctored
like
it. Yeah.
that was just so funny to think about, like, and now it's like I think a lot of people weren't taught like just believe, just what do you think, like I was thinking about it today, and it's like if I was just like told like, not it's doctored, it's not real, what if that was instead like, oh well, it's for entertainment, but like you decide, that
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
value in the lesson of, especially now when there's completely black and white thinking, I think that there's value in just being like, some of the stuff is silly, but some of it might be true. Like how much more fun a life that is than like, it's not real.
Right.
It's
Right.
not real.
Because we don't really, how much can we really fully know truly, like, so, we've written about, for example, some flat earth people think the earth is flat, and then
Yeah.
no, why you see the horizon, but maybe it's both, and maybe it's flat and maybe it's a sphere too, so it expands and contracts like we
Wow.
don't see, right? So could that be a possibility? I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe. So also when we don't use the F word, which is fake. Some people fake. Yeah, we
Oh,
don't use that because
whoa.
we're 100% reliable. We always tell the truth, but some
Yeah.
people put that on us. They say fake. But today, now fake news has become something that where you're deceiving people. You're actively deceiving.
Right.
Before, like when we were, maybe embellishing something, entertaining and informing as well, you know. So it was,
Yeah.
there's a little bit of a return that some people want to come back to the way it was, where people aren't like, the news shouldn't be deceiving you, you know. So
Right.
we want to entertain, but also maybe get people thinking and you know, seeing maybe there's other things, because maybe, you know, if we found out UFOs are true and everything, why isn't there a Bat Boy, you know, our
Yeah.
Bat Boy, our iconic character? Have you
So
seen them?
cool.
So
Oh
that's
yeah.
gone by for years, and that will also, we created, you know, this Bat Boy, or iconic weekly world news character, I guess you'd say, but that we just report on. We don't, you know,
Yeah.
he's not with it, but you know,
That'd
that
be
also,
cool if he was working with you as like a editor or something. Just like, I don't like this, redo it.
yeah, yeah, that's a good idea, you know. But there's a lot of people, and it was in West Virginia in this cave that thought, you know, saw this Bat Boy, because every state in the country and in the world that now we find there's these mythical creatures
Yeah.
that won't be Jersey Devil, Mothman, Chupacabras.
Yeah.
So you have a few there, right?
Wait, so Bat Boy's from West Virginia?
Yeah, West Virginia. It's found
Wow,
in a cave in West Virginia. Yeah.
that's terrifying. Do you know West Virginia is the only um like location in the United States that was not settled by any native people ever? They're just like this place
Really?
yeah. West
Wow.
Virginia is like everyone knows stay
So
away
there's
from
like
there.
something around West Virginia
Yeah.
keeping out.
That's where Mothman's from. Or that's where he
Yeah, yeah.
like
Mothman is from West Virginia. Yeah.
I don't I it's a beautiful state, but every time we go through there I'm like, "Oh, let's get
Oh,
out of
oh, yeah,
here."
yeah.
So scary. Yeah, like why didn't they settle here? Why don't they like it here? Like I don't just if you don't,
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't been there too much. Although I was there recently. There's a cave. There's like actually a tribute to Bat Boy there in this
Oh,
loft
cool.
growing caverns, and they sell Bat Boy beer actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's very very popular there. But yeah, that's interesting. I mean, we're all that paranormal and other because you know, you just never know. I mean, aliens. We're working on this other project. There's aliens landed in the Berkshires in Massachusetts
Oh,
in
cool.
1969, and so many people saw them.
Yeah.
Many people.
Well, total another whole thing just to I'd like to keep on stressing
Yeah,
in this I was going to call it on this website, but no, on this podcast is
yeah,
um like all to the south of us, all to the south of us, all of the countries, Central America, South America, all Europe, Africa, almost everywhere else do they believe in these things? Is it part of how you grow up? Because the lore of growing up is that there's spirits and ghosts and aliens and all of this stuff. It's funny here and it's fun here to to think you're the only one in the world. And I'm not sure if that's like or in the universe. I don't know if that it was just like beaten out of us through
yeah. You're right.
education.
I mean, you're right. Like in Brazil and Venezuela, all those countries down there, the spiritual aspect and something outsiders. It's all there's a lot of
Yeah.
media. That's like
Or
part of their growing up. It's just you're a spiritist or something like that. I think the word is. Yeah, that they get in touch with the universe, right?
yeah.
And the universe comes through, which is like a musician, right? A musician, a lot of times it's just you're just channeling the cosmos through you, and it comes out, right? Sometimes, and you connect with the audience, and it comes back. So
Wow.
I don't know why. That's a good question. Why here? It's
I'm
not as it's we're much more like I don't know, black and white, I guess.
right. Well, the interesting part of that is if you like, you can't even blame it on the normal things like religion, politics, because uh, the places you go that are more conservative and more religious, they do believe in afterlife. They believe in these wild things. And
Right.
also they believe in ghosts and spirits and graveyards and hauntings and like, but yeah, it's like, and if it, like white people like Europe is like, I mean, they have Dracula, they have fairies, they have
Yeah.
goblins. It's just the lore is
Leprechauns. Leprechauns.
leprechauns. Yeah, the lore is thick.
So yeah, so what are the odds that like all of that is, you know what I mean? Like all of this stuff is not true. You're right. It would be very small. I mean, there's too many people over 1,000 years that have connected to something outside of our beings, right?
Right. Well,
So
it sounds sort of, I mean, this is totally, I've just become, I guess, aware on a physical like level. It used to be a spiritual idea, but now I'm physically certain of all of these things being real, whether or not they're whether or not this is a simulation and it's manifested or it's
like,
drawn or it's multidimensional or it's multi, whatever it is, it's like there are leprechauns for sure. I know that because I can, something happened where I opened up and can see all of this stuff and feel it. And I think
right,
most of us have opened up to a certain extent from just, I think trauma
right.
typically opens people up, and we've all been traumatized in the last 2 years. And I think that like
I
it,
think so. You know, I've been reading about people who have done. I haven't done it yet. Maybe ayahuasca too. So they also describe this breaking open of our consciousness or something connecting to something
yeah,
beyond
well,
us that like informs it. So it seems like, you know, that there's like a breaking through of the world that we're stuck in. Or,
yeah,
you know,
well, I think, yeah, I mean, not uh not to, be too annoying about this, but I think that when you have um when you have those moments where you think it's like deja vu or all of those things, I think it's just you telling yourself, like, I think part of it is just you, or synchronicities or whatever. It's like, I think that we started off as our highest self, and then we come here and we're kind of programmed by our surroundings and survival and
yeah,
past trauma. And I think the thing about ayahuasca is your ancestral trauma, like it's your DNA is your grandparents and your great grand, I mean, until the beginning of whoever made everyone. And but
right.
also you have past lives, like I know you do. And it's not dreams, it's I've had experiences where like there's no other explanation. I have other people's dreams.
Really?
On tour we
Wow.
have the same dream, like we will have with each
Like
other.
in the band, you have the same dream?
Yeah, the exact, will be like, and it's not that weird because I think it's just we're all completely connected. I think we're all come from one, we're just one consciousness. And I think when we go, we're having like, that thing, we're in a body experience. And we grow up with parents that have had the experience too, and there's things they wanted that they didn't get, and it's
Right.
nobody's fault, but it's like your your spirituality is your most true thing, and you spend your life trying to get back to it. That's what I think, or avoid
Well,
it.
you're trying, yeah, you spend your life trying to find that self. Yeah, who you're
Yeah,
trying to find your spirit and your soul, right?
yeah,
This life just right from when you're a kid just gets on you, right? Everyone's saying, no, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. You have
yeah,
to do this. And you have like, you're just like being programmed from the beginning and they're slowly uh, doing away with like you're covering up your
yeah.
spirit or your soul, maybe.
And that's what's, I think, to tie it back, is what's so cool about what you do is that like when you're a kid you're taught there's good and bad, black and white, like stick with that. And then you grow up, your parents like, no, 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 no. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, you don't have anything figured out, you're just a person, like you don't,
Yeah, right.
you're just a person, you're not whatever. And then but what you provide is, I think the more we realize it's not black and white, like the more rich life is, because it's like I've been sifting things into black and white or right or wrong or good or bad, and it's done nothing positive that I can imagine.
Right,
Because
exactly.
it's not like, it's not helped me. Maybe it helps you when you're a kid, but it's not helpful anymore. And I think like creating these alternative ways of thinking, or even being judged for people being like, ah, that's rubbish, like there's
Yeah.
value in that, and it's mind blowing, and mind altering, and that's super cool. I think that that's really really cool.
Well,
What are
that's great that you get it, because we're trying, we're not like the Onion or the Babylon Bee or something that was a right or left. We're trying to be like a whole different like lane of some people have they can get what they want out of it. It's fun or silly or something, but a lot of people think, it gets you to like think about something. Oh, no, that I've that is real. I've seen
Yeah,
a hairy monster, or there are
yeah.
people in Ohio,
So
Bessie, that's real, right?
yeah, so you guys, are you reprinting, or what's going on
Okay,
now?
so we just we went out of print in 2007 for a number of reasons, like I said, and then it was owned by American Media. They're on the National Choir, and then it was sold to this investor group in New York, and we went online strictly, and we had a good run online to 2015. And so now 2019, I was, named CEO and editor chief, because I've written a lot in the
Congratulations.
articles. Yeah. So we've been trying to do all these things with TV, film, podcasts, but a lot of people want it to be in print. And I look at it like LPs and digital. Like,
Totally.
people like LPs, you want to
It
have the vinyl.
You need to
And,
smell
and
that stuff. You
yeah,
gotta hold it,
you just
smell it.
want to feel it. Yeah. It just, there's something so special about it, but you have to also be digital. So that's what we want to do. I mean, we have this paper we just released. It's a greatest covers, and that was in April, and we're working to get back online. We only have a couple hurdles, and is just basically the distribution of it.
Right. Which
We have the
I
art and everything. That's the thing. Is like we want to get back. We were always in the supermarkets and the pharmacies,
Yeah.
and to get back in there. And so we're gonna go in to do that. So that's
That's so
that's like on the top
cool.
of the list. So this was our first foray into it, and we want to, bring it back into, and stay online and do the other thing we're doing, but also have it in print. Because a lot of our fans, they want. I mean, I go to a lot of meetings in LA, and I bring these papers. I don't get them back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they
Well,
just keep them.
I have one question that's super boring, but I
No, go
like
ahead.
kind
Ask
of
me.
boring shit. Is the cost, like a regular newspaper, the size, everything about it seems, I don't know. It always seems so strange to me. I don't know if it was because when you're a little kid and you're looking at your parent holding this giant piece of paper and you're like,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
the fuck? Like,
yeah,
what do
exactly.
you need that for? What is even, in the news is like the most boring. Like, you don't,
Yeah, yeah. And there's all
like
these
how
ads.
kids digest news is so, um, is
I know
so
all,
funny.
all the papers today, they're shrinking. Even magazines,
Yeah.
they've been shrinking. It's just like the cereal boxes are
Is
shrinking.
it
Everything's
so
shrinking.
much, more expensive to have it be
It's
big?
it's not. I was looking into this myself, learning about it, and
Yeah.
that aspect of it, and it's not as expensive to print it. To actually, there's a lot of places that print it. Not as many. It's probably a
Yeah.
little more expensive than it was 10 years ago, but it's not the print, and this is like good, nice newspaper paper, we
Yeah.
have, but it's more of this getting it out there, getting out there, and then promote. It's just like anything else, promoting it, and it's
Yeah.
more of that. Like you can create your
Right.
film, you can create your TV show or music or
Yeah.
paper, and now it's just getting people to buy them, because when we put them in the stores, we have to get them to people to buy it,
Well, we can
So
help. Let us know how
yeah,
we can help. Cause like,
okay.
yeah, I collect magazines like smut and paranormal, supernatural stuff from like the 60s and 70s and 80s. That's like the way
Oh, okay.
that's how I blow my money, or how I used to when I
Okay.
was making this.
Did we send you one of these yet? Did you get
No,
this?
not
Oh,
yet.
I'll send,
Please
oh, you
do.
gotta be, send it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
And-
go anywhere from, I have UFO, obviously all that stuff, but also like psychology today because of like their weird,
Oh, yeah, yeah. They had a
yeah,
lot of weird things in there. Wow.
yeah. So I'm like I don't, I should have said this before. I'm a huge fan of yours. You're a huge fan of this genre as well. And I guess I was kind of just wanted to say something which is funny, is that when I was in high school, I wrote a book. It didn't like go out or whatever, but I wrote a book that was about this, and I just like it was about that. I was in high school in like the late '90s,
Oh,
and
what was it
it's
called?
well, it was like
Oh,
you know, like 120 page written. I didn't even have a computer, but it was about how the supermarket checkout guy like figured out like through these newspapers like the truth about aliens, and how
oh,
like yeah, and how and then he had to go on the run, and everyone was like looking for him because he like figured out the secret that was in your, you know, papers. And then at the end of, I don't really remember that much, like, because I was pretty crazy back then, but the end of it is that these bugs just start eating each other, and the bugs keep getting bigger and bigger, and then the earth falls because there's just four bugs that were too heavy to hold it, like the earth was too
wow, that's
heavy.
great. I love that.
But
That is
yeah,
awesome.
it's so I
You're
was like,
right. You're actually. Well, go ahead. Finish.
oh no, I just was like, should I tell him? But
Yeah,
yeah.
tell because we actually have a TV show pitch. I could send you the video pitch. It's probably
Oh,
been
cool.
we've been pitching lately, and it has similar thing to it because there's something that we've talked about Weekly Real News all the time. Is that so we're printing these stories, but maybe the government is you know helping push out these stories, you know, and discrediting Weekly World News, saying that
Yeah.
that it's fake and it's funny and everything. But really, in truth, it's they put it out so that people will discredit it, but it's actually true,
Yeah, that was
right? So
yeah,
they're using that. So they're
totally.
using that, and
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
So that it's sort of like your checkout guy. Realize he knows the truth, but you got to keep it.
yeah, well, I think now that you say, I realize that the deal was is that he realized that the government had a deal with you guys that they would like
Right,
let them put out information, but only if it
right,
seemed
right.
real hokey. That's
Yeah.
so funny.
Well, that's
That's
right, because the government's like spreading this disinformation through Weekly World News, but then
yeah,
we have writers in the Weekly World News that are actually covering the real truth and getting back.
yeah, yeah,
It's conspiracy, this government media conspiracy
yeah,
trying to hold back the truth, you know.
yeah. Which
And I love your little, what are those were there spiders or what were they?
like aphids, you know,
Oh,
those
aphids.
things.
Oh, cool.
I don't know why, but yeah.
That reminded me of another. We had a story once about these aliens. There's these aliens out there. We have two groups of aliens. We have the Gutans and the Zebans. The Gutans are kind of the bad aliens. They're trying to hurt us.
Yeah.
You know? But the Zebans are here. They're trying to help us become
Well,
more evolved and everything, and also fight against the Gutans. Although maybe who knows where we're
yeah,
going?
you never
You
know.
never know.
It's not
But
black and white.
no. But the Gutans, they conquered all these other planets out there. One of the reasons was because they're giant, they're enormous beings. You just
Whoa.
land on the planet and like just crush everybody, right? But when they came here, they landed on Earth. They were very tiny.
Oh wow, that's so cool. I
You know,
love
so they're
that.
tiny. So then they have to fight it out. And now they're growing like you have.
That's so
They're
creepy.
they're growing and they're here. You know, they're both here. There's even
So
good,
yeah,
but it's very similar.
yeah, that's so cool.
It's different way. Yeah.
It's hearing you talk about it. It's just it's on. You are and were a writer there for a real long time.
I've been a writer for you know since the late '90s. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
so
I wrote a lot
cool.
of stories over like 5,000 or something
That's
stories.
so cool. What a like. That's such a dream. Like I this doesn't really matter for anything except just conversation.
Yeah,
But
no.
when I was a kid, I wanted to be a writer, but like I like writing short stories, but I have a really bad attention span. And then I just realized like music is easier, and it's
But
probably what I'm
you are
supposed
a
to do.
writer. You are a writer.
I like you. I channel words. I don't write.
Oh,
I'm
same here.
yeah. I can't. I couldn't do that if I didn't have a lot of assistance from above. Um,
Oh, oh,
but
oh.
yeah, I don't like writing is like I'm on like first take, best take, first edit. Like if I start to edit, I'll edit for the next 20 years. Like I'm a total like my
Good.
sign.
There's a
Like
lot of people that do that. Though. There's a lot of people that do that write the first time. You know, some people make it worse by the more they edit it
that's my problem is
because you are channeling it, right? So if you
yeah.
start putting your brain into it,
Yeah.
you're kind of making it less, sort of like
Yeah. Well,
conceptual art, they have
yeah,
conceptual art. If you actually produce the art, then it becomes less. It's a
totally.
step away from the beauty of the art.
Yeah. Well, that's why on our records we don't do more than like 2 takes per song, and we kind of write it in the studio. It's all like
Wow,
improvised because I don't because
really?
yeah, because it's like you're not recording a finished song. You're recording a moment. You're recording the energy. You're recording the sound of figuring it out, and that sounds so much better to me than like this note and then this note and then this note and then
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
that's not
Well,
what
I mean,
people.
how many people are out there that never? I mean, I know a lot of people that write books and they never finish it. Like
Yeah,
there's
finishing.
a guy, he's been working on his novel for 10 years to
Yeah.
get it perfect, but we'll never see it. I mean,
Yeah, I guess can you another thing I really like to do on this hero podcast is can you talk about um becoming a writer or like the whole process of the little you to becoming a writer to now and maybe even your daily or weekly or whatever your process is for writing. Is that
oh
okay?
yeah. Well, I mean, I think, and I played music when I started. I was a drummer and I played a lot of
Oh,
music,
cool.
but I was always interested in like the use creative aspect of it, like coming up with something new. I was never really interested in like I'm gonna learn other people's songs or you know,
Yeah.
like you know what I mean. I wanted to like
Yeah.
just started like that's cool what they did, but I'm gonna do my thing. So I
Yeah.
guess that started like, oh, I wanted to be creative. People use the word creative, so I was being creative,
Yeah. Yeah.
creative. And then when I went to college, I started writing like these short little plays, one-page plays, and I really
Cool.
liked that. And then I wrote a full-length play, and it was when I was a senior in college. They did it, they performed it as their one of
Wow.
the main things. It was really good. I enjoyed it, so I got the bug for it's something that I really enjoy doing. It's like when you play music, is you just go to another place and
Yeah.
everything. So I actually experienced that like writing the piece,
Wow.
writing it. Like I feel like it gets some now it's painful to write, but it's great to finish it and then to look at it and go, wow, and keep making it, try and make it better. Although
Wait,
you
so it's painful for you too?
yeah, it's because it's like
Wow.
I mean, but I always it's become like I don't wait for inspiration to sit down and like I got to write something in the next hour, so I could write
Every day or just when
every
you have
day. Every
deadlines?
day, yeah, it's sort of like homework every day for the rest of my life. So I write like I'll write something. Yeah, I'll just sit down and say I got to write this. Like I just finished this script I had to write for us, but I'm like I already have a week to write this. So and I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it by spending a couple hours in the morning. And
Wow. First
like
thing in the
from here to
morning?
there, I can't wait for anything. I just got to go to it.
Can
So you
can
look at
you
it kind of like I'm going to do it. Just like you got to do it. So you sit down and you do it. So and I like that. And I like ideas like you're talking about. I just like ideas and playing with ideas. So I don't think I'm like anyone would say, oh, he's the greatest writer for fiction or not, anything, because I'm not that into, the like editing something forever.
right.
I just want to get it out.
Yeah.
So, it's like they say, like, maybe you have 1 out of 6 things is really good, or good. I think Spielberg said that even too. 1 out of 6 of his movies that have been made are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you look at it, but you have to get it out. You have to just keep getting stuff out and finish it.
Yeah.
But I do find that I enjoy writing. I like enjoy writing and looking at it when it's done and feeling it, even if no one else. Like for a while, you're at like I want approval from everyone else.
Yeah.
I want people to like it or not like it or react. And now I'm like, I like that. I like this little piece.
That's
So
so
it's like,
cool.
like I like this little thing. I don't know if anybody will like it, obviously, but I'm gonna put it out there. And then the thing about this is there's another day tomorrow. And I
Yeah.
come up with something else.
That's so
So
cool.
you read a lot. I like to read a lot, which you obviously do like to read and look at all sorts of things from every part. That's why I like the weekly world news. It's not just limited to, we could talk about anything, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, like there's a duck that was talking like in the last couple of days. Someone saw a duck, thought it said something, you know. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's interesting, a little duck.
That's so
I don't know,
cool.
you know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the world has, I guess, yeah, the world has just completely split open. And I feel like I mean, I can't imagine how it must have felt to restart this in 2019. But in
Yeah,
a way, I think you're lucky because it's like reality just completely cracked wide open. And
yeah,
people are going to be. Oh, this is something I wanted to talk to you about actually,
yeah.
is that if that's okay with you, I
That's
have a
good.
new.
That's a good
I,
segue. Yeah, I like it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have a new topic kind of is so before this is something I haven't worked on yet enough conceptually, but just like popped in my mind the last few weeks, and man, maybe it's to discuss it with you, but basically something a major shift that I don't think anyone's really like pointing their finger at is that like most before there was only like a handful of voices you heard. You heard your parents, you heard your teacher, you heard the TV, you heard I don't know, the news, maybe, but like not everyone had a voice. And I don't know how I feel. I'm not passing judgment on reality or anything, but it's like now everyone can hear everyone. And everyone's talking and everyone thinks it matters and everyone is an influence and all of this shit is just really intense and just like um I don't know if it's just like I've made my world so much about my phone or if that's just what's happening to everyone. I
Right.
think it's what's happening to everyone, but basically, you're the stream of information is so far reaching. It's insane.
Yeah.
There's no limit to how much information that doesn't matter and isn't from one source I can get in a day. Honestly, there is
Yeah.
no limit.
It's it's a little overwhelming. You know, some people say, oh, like today, people have shorter attention spans or younger people, but I don't think that's true. I think there's like just so much information. You know,
Yeah.
the library, the Alexandria Library in Egypt had all this information of the world. You know, now you have it on your phone. You know, you have that. You can
Yeah.
just learn about anything. You can read about. It is overwhelming the information that we're getting, and then to choose and then also to express yourself. You want to express you're getting your voice out there, and then you get reactions to your voice, and
Yeah.
it's a lot more
Well,
complicated. It's a
I,
lot the world's a lot more complicated, right?
yeah. I mean, to me, something that's been startling me the last few days, like almost to the point where I'm like, I don't know if there's a way to turn this off, but like now, not only can you call anyone no matter where they are, like
Right.
that that was not the way it was so recently. Not only can you call anyone, you can also text them. And now that's not even fast enough. You like react to a text, like I heart that text. I like that text. And it's like, oh,
Right.
she didn't heart my text. Maybe she didn't. It's like
Yeah.
the immediacy and all of that stuff is so bonkers. I just wanted to bring it up with you because I feel like it does tie in the sense that like before when I was growing up, when I was
Yeah.
a kid, is like I love the Rolling Stones and to
Right.
find out about the Rolling Stones, you got books and videos, talk to other people. Um, you know, there was a limited amount of information you could get. That's just it had you know there's just a limited amount and if you wanted it you had to be intentional um and I'm not saying that that's better, it's just you could get to a point where you knew everything you could possibly know about a subject because there's a finite amount of it and like I feel like if I grew up now like wanting to like what's the Rolling Stones, it'd be like where would you even start, and I guess
I know.
that's I don't know
Well,
like
also you were looking at it. You were looking at the Rolling Stones, and you're gathering information. It was going through you, and you had the music, so you were deciding.
Yeah.
But now I find that like you have everyone's opinions are out there.
Yeah.
Well, like anything I like, if I like, go to like find a book, I'm like, oh, that looks really cool. And then I go down, I scroll down, and like all these, oh, these people like it, but these people hate it, you know? It's
Yeah.
almost like now it's like, oh, now maybe I shouldn't watch that or read that
Yeah. Well, that's
because
a
there's some person I don't even know didn't like it,
yeah.
and
Well,
nobody
that's
likes anything.
yeah. That's a continued case for your physical media and the importance of it, because seeking something out and having it and spending time with it, I don't care what they say, has to be more impactful for the good of the universe than scrolling and like having a hard time choosing which book you're going to get, you know? So
Yeah, yeah.
again, I think what you're doing is most clearly the Lord's work. You
Oh,
know? But yeah,
yeah.
last week, or I don't know when this is going to come out, cuz we're stopped we just finished season 1 and season 2 is coming out next.
Okay, okay,
Which
yeah,
is I mean I think that that's how it's supposed to be. I have no one I like no higher ups or whatever. I'm just making it up, but I've
yeah,
seen
yeah,
other things with season 1s go on to have season 2s. But
yeah,
the episode that came out last week is our friend Brett, and he wrote a book on the MC5, and he wrote it in like 2007 or whatever it was, and it was like, oh my god, before then there was no books on my favorite band. Like I didn't read a book about it. I just loved it and listened to their
oh, you
music.
like the MC5, huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
Detroit.
Detroit,
Yeah,
that
Detroit
era is
rock.
my
Yeah,
favorite. Yeah, but it's just like, oh, like what was, it's just so interesting to think before information didn't come out until somebody was a expert and focused on it and was like, like I love the MC5, I love the Stooges, I love Detroit. He actually moved there from England, like he was
yeah.
obsessed. So he's
Wow.
a real good example of a hero. But yeah, but it's just like this person, there was not a book about the MC5, and then he made it come into the world's consciousness. And I guess I don't know, it's just interesting that you're here today, because this has been a real big thing I've been thinking about, is like the physicality of stuff, um the figuring out how to find your own stuff, and you're a writer, uh
Yeah.
and all of this stuff. I'm just trying to connect it easily, but maybe it's obvious to anyone but me. But I guess thanks for letting me talk to you about this stuff.
No, I
um
love talking to you about it. This is great. Um, and,
oh, yeah,
I think we're like-minded.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah.
so too.
Yeah. I mean, just trying to, we're still experimenting too. We experiment, try and find out what people like, when people don't like, and then trying to be positive force, not anything
That's
negative.
awesome.
That's the thing. It's like I'm trying to. That's why we try to stay like, I guess, apolitical too. Like, because politics like to me, this is me. Like I put artists at the top. I don't politicians at the top. Like artists are to me the top, and then politics just brings everything down. And
Yeah.
puts people
Well,
against each other. I just.
that's fair. I think I mean, you're a newsman, and it's fair that you keep politics out of it, because in your position as a global leader in the
Right.
news, like you could influence people in a way that could take away from your true purpose, which is perpetuating these important stories. And
Right. Like you're supposed to be completely independent on it.
yeah,
So we want
uh,
to, we start being even some of these other satire sites, you say like The Onion or Babylon Bee, they're
yeah,
both like both sides, sort of like, and coastal, you know. So we're trying to be, more every
yeah.
person on every side.
I'm glad you brought that up though, because I kind of forgot about those and how much I enjoy them. And like, yeah, just like talking to you or getting ready for this, I was just like, I don't do entertainment. I don't do anything for the joy of that moment. Like, which is something I really have been wanting to work on. Because as an entertainer, like the stream or the river just goes one way. It goes through me and out. But it's like, oh, I want to bathe in the luxury of entertainment. Like, and I think that that's super cool. Um,
Have you
but
ever done a alien song, like a song to the aliens? We
like,
had like like there's a couple people wrote songs for Weekly World News. Lunatics did a song called
oh,
"Dear Dottie."
cool, that's
That was
awesome. Oh,
and,
the
and
your advice column.
yeah, yeah, as a vice com and Weird Al did a song that was referenced by. It was called Midnight Star, but it was about Weekly World News. And David Byrne did a movie,
Yeah,
two stories that was based on Weekly
that's
World.
so cool. Yeah, that's so cool. I actually do want to say is that I started this podcast because we had so many paranormal and supernatural experiences on tour. Like it was,
Really?
yeah. So I started interviewing people, and I have tons of interviews. It wasn't like this. I didn't have time before, but it's just on my phone or whatever. Um, but yeah, if you need a column on supernatural occurrences from tour. When we get back on
Yeah.
the road, I'm your girl because we literally, um, I mean, I would say we have at least we go on tour like every other month for 30 days about,
Oh,
and I
great.
would say there's at least 5 supernatural occurrences that would make you scream in the night just with excitement. You'd
Wow.
be so excited by what
Yeah,
I mean,
we need that column of you on the.
yeah, cuz that's not political. That's like it's
Oh
important
no,
stuff.
no, no.
We've seen UFOs all together. Some of us weren't, I mean, and it's the interesting thing about a band is that it's 5 of us, and we don't do drugs or really drink, so it's like
Yeah, yeah.
we're very reliable news sources.
New
And
kind of
yeah, yeah, and it's like,
good.
yeah, but that would be fun to get to write
Yeah,
for.
good calm, and also because I there's 2 areas that I'm trying to go into too. It's
Oh,
music
okay.
and some stand up too, because we've had
Ooh,
stand up comedy. So any song too, short or anything, we'll do it. That'd be great to
super cool.
feature because you guys are great. I
Oh,
love you.
thank
Yeah,
you.
I mean, listened to it for half an hour before it came on.
That's so
Yeah, it's
cool.
great.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, I guess aside from uh wanting to go into music and comedy, is there anything else you want to tell the humans of this podcast?
I just want people to spread the word because some people think that like Weekly World News is like this legacy or kind of a dead brand or something, but we've been coming back and we're trying to expand, go back to the original vibe of Weekly World News and the original mission, and to expand it to the new generation and to take it to a whole nother level. And keeping the core of how it was, but expanding out and we take tips at weeklyworldnews.com and
Cool.
to missions at weeklyworldnews.com. People, we're trying to bring in, because the goal is to become, the CNN,
Cool.
MSNBC, Fox, better than all that in Washington.
Yeah.
And why couldn't we be?
I can't think of
Like
anything similar.
why can't we be that? And we have, since we went online after we went out of print, we do have people in England, India, Australia, South Africa. We've kind of spread out a little bit, and all over the place. There's like weird things going on, and
Yes.
creatures. Like in Australia, they have something called the drop bear. I don't know if you ever heard of
Ooh,
that. Where
what's
like
that?
yeah, they're afraid of this drop bear. You're walking around, all of a sudden a bear drop out of the trees and attack you.
Oh my god, that
Yeah.
is,
So some
yeah.
people say, "Oh, that doesn't exist," but
What about murder hornets? Do those not exist? What
oh,
about,
right, murder hornets, right, exactly.
also I'm in a contactee and abductee support group, and before last week everyone was saying everyone was having dreams every night about flooding. And it's
Really?
like, not that that's completely uncommon, but it was the week before, New Orleans and New York and Jersey.
Yeah.
I mean, these things are not, let's just say they are complete coincidences. All of these things,
Yeah.
feeling cold when you walk by this one little area and then all of a sudden something falls across the room. Like, so what? You want to live your life so sad and boring and like not believing in extra stuff? Like, when you spend all of your time believing everything you read from all of these like boring people that don't even care about ghosts, like, wake up, people. This
Like, but
is the
don't
weekly
ever,
work.
yeah, like
What?
everybody says, aren't we mind, body, and spirit, right? So we're mind, body, but where's the spirit part of it? Like there is, and it doesn't have to do with your religion too. You can have religion, but there's a spirit, right?
Yeah,
So why aren't we talking about that? It
I
seems
don't know.
like you're saying in this country where it's like mind and body, right? We're focused on those two things, but not on the spirit at all anymore, or
Yeah.
not as much. I don't know.
Well, again, I just want to note, like, it's really easy in this country to forget that it's happening only in this country, because we don't like we don't eat food we're supposed to. We take pills and medicine to make up for the
Right.
vitamins we don't eat, and or if we're overweight, we take pills, but we don't change our diet. It's like this country is. I love it. I love this
Yeah.
country. It's so cool. Um, but yeah, it's like it's not typical. Our behavior isn't typical to be so disconnected from our body and our spirit
Yeah.
and our mind. So I think, you know,
And how do we do that with when we have all this technology around us? Like coming at us all the time. I mean, it's like addictive. Like you said, if you get a text, you're like, I have to
oh
respond.
my
Like it's
god.
been like 10 minutes. I have to respond, and then
Yeah.
everyone's like on their.
I mean, hi Tommy. Hi sweetie. My dog got attacked and she's
Oh,
okay, but she's like wakes up every hour like, "Whoa."
oh,
Um
oh.
it's
Well,
okay.
now dogs too. Is your dog could be psychic too?
Yeah, I think I think so. I think dogs, somebody asked me like, "Do you think dogs were like universal like angels?" And I was like, no,
No,
dogs are earthbound beings here to make humans happy. No offense, but like, dogs are the most earthly creature. They are not of the stars. Like, this thing is just it's an earth creature. Like,
right.
how can I know that? It's like so truly like, maybe there's a dog planet somewhere, but I think this is it. Like, maybe that's the whole point. Maybe Earth is just a dog planet and we just kind
Yeah,
of
they're
ruined
earthly
it.
creatures here to teach us,
Yeah.
trying to teach us to be
Trying
better
so
humans.
hard. Hi,
Yeah.
sweetie. Oh, it looks so scared. I was afraid this might happen, but can you tell everybody where to find everything you want them to find?
Okay. Yeah. So we on Facebook we have a nice little community there. I think
Oh,
it's like
cool.
45,000. You can see Wicked World News on Facebook. We're on Instagram. That's growing at Wicked World News Official. Twitter, Wicked World News, and the website, wickedworldnews.com. We also have a newsletter you can sign up for. It's free, and that goes out every week now.
Cool.
And hopefully it'll be every day. So you can check all those out and look for just spread the word about Wicked World News. We have a store with all sorts of things in there, and you can get the latest paper. It's on the website.
Cool.
And you look for us because we do have a lot of things going on with some TV and film and another podcast too.
Super cool. Well,
Yeah,
thank you so much for your great work. It
thank you so
uh
much. This has been awesome, really great.
yeah, so
Speaking with
good. Yeah, so good to talk to you. Well, thank you so much. We'll see you later.
Okay, we'll see you later. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.